Welcome to the Redirect Podcast. My name is Abigail Freshley.
And I'm Emily Rojas. The Redirect Podcast is a show where we shift the conversation back to books. We discuss themes of some of our favorite books and how those themes show up in real lived experiences.
On today's episode, we're discussing a beloved book series with a less than beloved author.
Yikes.
Harry Potter.
But first, before we go there, if you've been enjoying the pod, we would humbly ask that you support us in a few simple ways. First, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and let us know that you love the show.
We'd also love for you to follow us on Instagram at Redirect Podcast. And finally, if you really like the show, please share it with a friend. Sharing our show with a friend is the best way to help us grow our community of book-loving nerds. I feel happy about the way the podcast is going, and I feel like we have like a great modest but mighty community who enjoys episodes and talks about it, and that's all I could really ask for. It's been great, and would love to bring even more people into it.
I know,
for the good vibes.
I was gonna say that, and we just obviously got back from your wedding. Congrats. Clap.
Yay.
But there, like, I talked to your sister. Yeah, applaud in your cars. I talked to your sister about the podcast a little. I met some of your friends from LA. It was like, wow, this is so fun. Like, you know, we just talked in our houses by ourselves, but it was nice to actually, like, you know, talk about it in real life.
Yeah.
Or just my mom, you know.
What we're saying. Yeah. Okay. So, you know what's occurring to me? It is June. It is Pride Month.
I did think about that.
We've chosen this time to talk about Harry Potter, but I want to, before everyone is just like, cancel them, here's what I want to say. I think that this is actually a great time to talk about Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And that is because we have an opportunity to reclaim something that is beloved and cherished and shared, and also do it on our own terms. And so this podcast is going to be raising money this month for the Trevor Project in honor of J.K. Rowling. I put that on our fundraising page, that all the donations are in honor of her. And kind of reclaim actually the spirit of the book, of the like the courage and inclusivity and openness and like good over evil.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think also Pride is not just about like celebrating love is love, but also talking about the real challenges and obstacles and oppressions that people in the LGBTQ plus community, specifically those who identify with the T as transgender, are experiencing in our world. And, you know, it's our obligation to talk about those things, and as well as just like celebrating queer love.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it felt, I think, weird to like not talk about Harry Potter with our book podcast. I think it had a big impact on both of us probably in our reading lives. And so I think we can talk about it. Obviously, hopefully no one's going to buy the books. We would not endorse that. And we're not giving her any money, and obviously do it for a good cause also. So yeah, I was thinking to encourage you guys, like, don't feel like you have to go donate a bunch of money, but I looked up like the cost of the first Harry Potter book. It's like $12. Like, you could think about that. Like, okay, I'm going to go throw this over to the Trevor Project and skip buying this book if you don't already own it.
Right. Or like, if you're like, man, I haven't read the Harry Potter books and I really want to, or I have, but I really want to own them. It's also a good option to buy them secondhand. You know, J.K. Rowling is not getting enriched by you buying it from thrift books or from a thrift store, or
go to any Goodwill. I'm sure you can find a couple of these books, you know. Right.
You know, that's an ethical way to enjoy the story. So if you're sitting there being like, wait, what's wrong with J.K. Rowling?
Yeah.
Well, just, I don't want to dwell on this negative stuff too much, but just to give context about why we're doing what we're doing. J.K. Rowling was really one of the most successful, wealthy, cherished, beloved authors of the late 20th and early 21st century. Yeah. And then in June of 2020, she released a series of insane tweets that really just resulted in her fumbling her own bag. She identifies as a TERF, which stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist. So basically, her whole thing is that she felt that in the middle of the world melting down and everything already being horrible, she decided, I'm going to throw in my 2 cents and just let everyone know that I think that trans women are bringing down women as a whole and they should be excluded from discussions about feminism. I don't know. It was just crazy. What a wild take.
Yeah. I will say too, like, I first of all didn't realize it was like 2020 doesn't feel like that long ago. I feel like she's been this way for a really long time. I guess it was 4 years ago, but anyways, that is like, whoa, to me. And second of all, I have her blocked on Twitter, but I did go take a peek while we were prepping for this episode. And it's like, it's just gets worse and worse with her. And that's why a while ago, I think we mentioned something in our podcast, like J.K. Rowling is weird and problematic. And my parents were asking me, like, they're not chronically online as I or you are. Yeah. So they were like, oh, what's going on? So I was trying to explain to them, like, not only, my thing with her is not only obviously being a TERF is bad, being transphobic is really bad, but she's also just so freaking weird about it. It's like, you don't have to make this, it's literally, if you go to her Twitter, which I don't recommend, it is all she talks about. And it's so bizarre to make this, you are like this beloved figure. You could have just been chill. And you would have made this
up and being transphobic with your pile of money, but just did it quietly. You know,
which is also bad, right?
It's also bad,
but it's like double weird.
Stupid.
Yeah,
it's just weird.
Yeah, she's a weirdo and a bad person. You know, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, I don't recommend looking into that, but just so you know, it's genuinely. I scrolled for quite some time and couldn't find anything else. And she tweets a lot, so
you know. Yeah. Also, that's maybe that's not obvious, but we'll make it obvious now. That's clearly not what we stand for as people or this podcast stands for.
Right.
But there is something also to be said, and I'm familiar with this both in my relationship to Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling, but also with some other areas of life, that very broken, messed up people can break your heart and kind of taint something that was once very cherished and lovely to you.
Yeah.
And that also, like, it doesn't take away from the fact that the thing that they were associated with was very lovely and beautiful to you and added positivity to your life and helped you when you were in a dark place. And I think a lot of the Harry Potter fans felt that way, specifically probably trans and other queer Harry Potter fans, just being like,
of which there are many.
Yeah, you know? Like, wow, what a stab in the back. This is so heartbreaking. Right. And I want to say that I don't think that they're, like, while she is not a good person and I don't align myself with her beliefs, if you can find something that is inspiring to you and, like, lovely and brings life and love from Harry Potter, then guess what? It still does. And you don't have to, she doesn't have the power to totally erase that. She brought this work into the world, but she shared it with the world and it no longer just belongs to her.
Yeah. And I think, however, obviously neither of us are trans. So we can't speak for that community, but I think in general, however you want to engage with Harry Potter, like, if you don't want to listen to this episode, then please don't. And if you don't want to engage at all, and if it's like, this is not it for me, then don't. And if you want to still engage in ways that are uplifting to you, then I think you should, and not let her, like, ruin everything about it. But, yeah, it's just, it's really bizarre. It's when you were talking, actually, I mean, not to go on too much of a tangent, and we can cut this out, but it kind of reminded me too of, like, maybe an experiences of growing up in church, and, like,
that's exactly what I was alluding to.
Yeah. Okay, good. Where it's like, sometimes people in church hurt you, or you have traumatic experiences, religion, and for some people that means they can't engage with it at all. For some people, it's like, okay, I can take some things of this, or there were a lot of great things I learned, or I cherish so many memories or, like, beliefs, and you can take those. So however you choose to engage with something that may have hurt you, I think, but it was important to you at one time, is okay. Obviously, we don't endorse supporting J.K. Rowling, so I would say that one maybe not okay, but everything else, like, you know, then do you.
I think there are ways that you can still enjoy something that was really important to you as a child or as a young adult and found you in a dark place and maybe, was part of your formation without, continuing to like financially enrich J.K. Rowling, which is what we're attempting to do here today. We don't, she's not getting any money from this. And it's just like why we've put this off. I mean, we've had this podcast going for like 2 years now almost, or like a year and a half, I don't know. And almost 2 years. And we haven't talked about it yet, and that's why, because it's like, we want to do this with lots of grace and, intention and thoughtfulness. And, I think about this in terms of my faith a lot, where I'm like, I don't want to, for instance, donate or tie the money to a church that is, homophobic or who stands for things I don't believe in. But also that they don't get to tell me what my faith is about either.
Yeah.
And I know this is like a weird comparison to Harry Potter, but it's like there are things that you can reclaim from it and enjoy. And what we want to emphasize in the next 2 episodes, because we're making this a 2-parter, is because it's a behemoth of a book series, is just to talk about what positivity has contributed to our lives and other people's lives, and also just have fun with it and be silly and talk about some of the other ways that J.K. Rowling is problematic in this book series, because there are many others, or at least several others. So anyways,
let's go.
Please, from the rest of the month of June, we're going to be raising money for the Trevor Project in her honor. The Trevor Project is a leading organization that prevents suicide among LGBTQ plus youth. They're really amazing, and we would like to counteract some of the negativity and evil that J.K. Rowling is putting into the world this Pride Month. So
there you go. That's our almost 15-minute disclaimer. And now let's talk about the books.
Okay. All right. So history and background. I mean, almost everybody in the world has heard of Harry Potter in some way.
Sure.
But let's do a little storytelling about how it came into our world. Does that sound good?
I love it.
Okay. So J.K. Rowling first had the idea for Harry Potter while she was sitting on a delayed train from Manchester to King's Cross Station in 1990. 7 years later is when Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone, depending on where you live, was published. So we can only imagine what happened in these 7 years.
Yeah.
The answer is that she spent 5 years from the time that she came up with the idea mapping out the plot of all 7 books.
Yeah. And
that's crazy.
It shows. And I think I was thinking about, like, what is it about Harry Potter? Because it's obviously not, it's not the best books. They're great, whatever, but they're not, like, necessarily so unique, so groundbreaking. But I think this foreshadowing is what made me fall in love with it, because, especially, like, I personally, as you know, if you listen to the fan fiction episode of this podcast, I was, like, so obsessed with the Snape storyline when I first read these books, and questionable as an adult, but I just, like, it blew my mind that you could go back to book 1 and see how maybe there was some elements of foreshadowing. It just didn't come out of nowhere, and there's 7 books, so that's hard to do, but, like, without giving anything away, it was like, okay, she was able to build up this whole Snape reveal where he was a double, triple, whatever, quadruple agent, and was in love with Harry's mom, and, like, that moment was so powerful. There's so many things like that, and I think it's hard, like, I think that must be very difficult if you don't plan things out in advance, or if, sometimes people, I think, they have these book series that become really successful, and then they, like, I'm not super familiar with the Game of Thrones series, but I feel like, unfortunately, like, they're never going to get an ending because, like, it became so successful, it became this TV show, and now it's like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, So I think it's hard to do, to have this plan, to stick to it, and especially if you're a child, which I was, we can talk about our experiences reading these books, but we were both young. That is very mind-blowing to a young person. And I don't think there's like a lot of things that exist like that. I feel like most book series that are 7 books long are normally like not that, don't have that much depth or continuity necessarily. And, you know, to get something like that you spend all this time with, you grew up with the characters, I think that is part of like what makes it so appealing to so many people. So
yeah, and also to write the plot out of 7 lengthy books in an entire world that you made up before you even had a publishing deal for the first one.
Maybe
I mean,
some
that's
foreshadowing to her, you know, unhinged behavior.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
But that is a lot.
And also the other amazing thing, or just one of the unique things about these books is that, you know, the first book starts with our main character, Harry, is 11 years old, and it's really written at an 11-year-old reading level.
Yeah.
And then as he gets older, you know, by the end of the book, he's like 17.
Right.
And it's written at a late high school reading level.
Right.
And so she wrote the book so that they would grow up with her readers. And so to be able to do that, first of all, is challenging. That's very challenging. But then to do that and also have these like plot payoffs and like the subject matter of the books becomes more appropriate to the age of the reader, like being 13, 14, having your first crushes, you know, that's like where she first mentions those kinds of things. Like, it becomes more mature and more serious the later the books you get, but it doesn't take away from the fact that she planted the story, like the seeds of the storylines that pay off in book 7 in book 1 when she was writing at like a, you know, 5th grade reading level.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was, for me, like a big series of unfortunate events girly, where I was like analyzing the clues for the Taylor Swift girlies who were getting the, you know, inserts in her CDs to find the capital letters. For those of us who love a good mystery and some foreshadowing, I think that's very appealing because it's like, you know, it's not super complicated. And I read them once all the books had been released, which again, foreshadowing my own experience. But so I didn't have to wait super long, but there's like nothing like trying to figure out what's going to happen next and having like little crumbs planted for you. So I think that is, definitely was what hooked me into these books for sure.
So what was your experience reading the books? When did you start reading them?
I'm so glad you asked. So I think like you was not allowed to read these books in a chill way though. Like, were your parents really strict about it?
I don't know. I feel like
your experience, but
yeah. Well, my parents, they just thought I wasn't allowed to read them because they had to do with witchcraft, and they didn't actually know what the content of the books was.
Yeah.
They just heard from other people in their culture, in their subculture, that we weren't reading them. So we just weren't reading them.
Right. And I think,
and then whenever I did read them, and when I was like, I didn't read them until high school. When I did read them, I like watched all the movies with my mom, and she was like super into them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, okay, so
this is cool. Yeah, so same basically.
They thought they were doing the right thing.
Yeah,
whatever.
I feel like though it wasn't. I don't know. Maybe my parents can weigh in as listeners of the pod. Comment on this post and let us know. But I didn't feel like once I did read them. So I never read them when they were first coming out or whatever. Just because I guess I wasn't allowed to. And I do actually remember I think it was like my 6th grade health class, I think was right after Half-Blood Prince came out. And it was sometime in middle school. And I remember my friend Caroline coming into health class, like sobbing, holding the book and being like, Dumbledore is dead, like bawling. So I knew Dumbledore died before I read any of these books. But I didn't know obviously who he was. And then I don't know. I was like, maybe it was being on Tumblr at a young age. Something made me want to read these books. And I started I think I was like in 9th grade when I started reading them. Either like end of 8th grade, beginning of 9th grade, sometime in early high school. But when I did read them, I didn't feel like I had to sneak around. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't feel like my parents were very strict about it because I was openly reading them. I had the books, you know, out around my family. So I wasn't like, you cannot read this. I think it was more just like, and don't read that, when I was like 8, when they were first becoming popular. And then by the time I was old enough, I feel like my parents were like, whatever about it.
Yeah. I feel like, I wasn't hiding them from my parents. And I think in high school, I was just like, hey, I'm reading these.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, okay, whatever. You're old enough to like,
know that magic's
about it or something. Also, I don't think that they really had an understanding of what they were when they were saying I couldn't read them.
That's what I think. It was just like, we're going along with the crowd.
Yeah, whatever. I read them into high school when I was in 10th grade. I started reading them, and these books found me at a time that I was going through a lot of friendship problems at school.
Mm-hmm.
I was like losing a bunch of friends, and I specifically remember like reading these in the cafeteria during lunch, like because I wasn't sitting with my friends anymore. And I remember we had like field day, and my whole little group of friends made t-shirts without me.
Oh.
And I was like, we were all waiting in like, the class for like, it was like half day of school, and then it like let out for field day. And I was sitting in the back of the class, like reading Goblet of Fire or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, it was a total escape for me. Like, it truly helped me get through this time. Whenever I think about Harry Potter, I think about being in that time and reading these books. And I called my parents to come pick me up, and so they picked me up before field day.
That is so sad.
Then when that it was crazy. I kind of deserved it though.
Yeah, fair. Anyways, but still.
And then, I'm not saying I'm blameless in the 10th grade drama.
Yeah, but still tough times.
Yeah, tough times. Just being a 15-year-old girl is just really, really, really challenging. And then that summer, after school was finished, I just spent the whole summer reading the rest of the books, like 5, 6, 7. And I just remember being like, it was the first time in a long time that I was just totally engrossed.
Yeah.
And just like, I couldn't do anything but read these books. And then after I finished the books, I spent the rest of the summer watching all the movies. Yeah. And then that was right around the time that the Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out.
Yep,
in
that's what I was going to say.
So then I saw it in person. So I guess that was like 20...
I want to say
2010, 2011.
Yeah, 2010, 2011. I think it was like summer 2011.
Okay, yeah. So that was right around the time that I was...
Me too. We probably got each other into it, one of us. I don't know who.
I think you got me into it.
That sounds for
sure. Yeah.
But I was going to say something similar. Like, to me, this book, like 9th grade was really hard. I wanted to be homeschooled, and during that year, and 10th grade as well. But really 9th grade was super hard. And I just felt like I didn't know my place. And especially, I was going to say, shout out to Harry Potter for getting me into podcasts, because the first podcast I ever listened to was the MuggleCast podcast, which is all about, it's still going. God. It is still on.
You just unlocked a crazy memory for me. MuggleCast. I totally
shout out
forgot
MuggleCast. They're still out there, I think. I think they're still going. Or they very recently stopped if they did. But I would listen to that. I was always the first person to be picked up on the bus in the mornings and the last one to be dropped off in the afternoons. So I would be on the bus for like an hour and a half, and I would listen to MuggleCast on my MP3 player. They went chapter by chapter through all the books. I would try to like listen as I was reading the books. And like again, like you said, it was just such a really hard time in my life, and I feel like it consumed me in a way that maybe not much, maybe like Twilight is the other.
A life raft.
It was. Yeah.
Everything else feels so, I mean, in hindsight, it really wasn't that big of a deal. But in the moment, that's the hardest thing you've ever gone through.
Yeah.
And having this world that you can escape to.
Totally.
Where, like, it's amazing.
Yeah. And there's so much, like, there was so much other things to discover, like MuggleCast. But, like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but there are so many like online communities and like Pinterest pins and Tumblr and fan fiction, Facebook Flare. Like there was already so much content, because by the time we got to it, like you said, the only movie I saw in theaters was Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows Part 2. And so there was already so much out there. There was like things I could buy and participate in, and things I could go back and like. I loved seeing what people's theories were before the last book came out, like just to think, what did they think was going to happen? And there was just so much out there to immerse yourself in. Like I went to the Harry Potter studio tour in London with my grandparents when I graduated high school, because that's the reason we went to England, because I wanted to go see that like so bad. And so
That's awesome.
yeah, like that's pretty dramatic of like, so basically my entire high school career, I was just consumed with these books, and it didn't really die off until like, obviously things got a little problematic, but it was, yeah, I don't think besides Twilight, any other obsession in my life for a book series. Like obviously I love The Hunger Games. I love Series of Unfortunate Events. Maybe that's another one that comes close. But to me, Harry Potter and Twilight were like Twilight was like my middle school obsession. Harry Potter was like my high school obsession, and nothing's really come ever in my life close to like the immersion I felt in those two series.
Right. Which is why I have such a resistance to letting this dumb transphobe ruin it for me.
Right.
Like this belongs to us too. It's like my whole thing. I'm like, she doesn't get to ruin the whole thing just because she sucks. And she
I know, and it's so sad. Like I went to Universal, you guys know, over the holidays, and it's still like kind of magical to go to Hogsmeade, you know. And even though you're like, oh, I don't want it to be, and I'm not gonna buy any of your freaking merch, but I just like walking around in here, you know. So it's weird.
We in like right after I graduated college, so 2017. I went with Megan and her little sisters to Universal. Yeah. And her little sister got chosen at Ollivanders. It's very lit.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it was just so magical.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of magic. All right. So our plan is to kind of talk through the book summaries. Yeah. And see how many we can get through today, probably 3 or 4. And then we'll do part 2 and kind of talk through them and just kind of... No notes here. We're just kind of vibing.
When's the last time you read these books, by the way? Do you think?
Gosh, I think I have all of them at my parents' house with my Hunger Games books.
R.I.P.
Which we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But I don't know, probably a few years ago, I'll sit down and be like, I'm going to reread these. And then I'll read like the first 2 and then quit.
I was thinking for maybe by part 2, I'll try to, instead of trying to start with 1, 2, honestly, those are tough to reread as an adult. Yeah. But like maybe I'll dive into some of the later books before the next one. But I'm very up on the fanfic lore. So
yeah. Okay. That's another great way to enjoy the magic of Harry Potter is through fanfiction. You're hurting no one.
I'm enjoying them. Okay. So, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
We are going to be reading from the Spark Notes summary, and then we'll stop every once in a while and share our thoughts. How does that sound? Good?
Great. Okay. Sorry, I was muted. It sounds great.
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Excellent.
Mr. Dursley, a well-off Englishman, notices strange happenings on his way to work one day. That night, Albus Dumbledore, the head of a wizardry academy called Hogwarts, meets Professor McGonagall, who also teaches at Hogwarts, and a giant named Hagrid outside the Dursley home. Pause. When you were reading this the first time, if you can try and remember, were you so surprised that Professor McGonagall was the cat?
Oh, man. Wow, I don't remember that. But probably.
So it's like Dumbledore like walks up to 34 Privet Drive or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's like a little cat sitting there, and he like starts talking to the cat, and then the cat turns into McGonagall, and you're like, whoa, okay, what are we doing here?
McG.
Okay. So, and a giant named Hagrid outside the Dursley home. Dumbledore tells McGonagall that someone named Voldemort has killed a Mr. and Mrs. Potter and tried unsuccessfully to kill their baby son, Harry. Dumbledore leaves Harry with an explanatory note in a basket in front of the Dursley home. Is this the moment that Dumbledore becomes the villain?
I was going to say, shout out to the smallest man who ever lived, Albus Dumbledore.
Someone
literally?
Who wanted... What a horrible guy.
Like... I'm sorry. There has to be another way you guys could have kept Harry safe. First of all, Dumbledore's gone. I mean, Voldemort's gone. So I get that there's lingering, but like after a year, couldn't you have been like, hey, seems like this Voldemort guy's gone. Maybe we can bring him over. I'll adopt him. You know, I'll raise him up in Hogwarts myself. Hogwarts, allegedly the safest place on Earth. So what the heck? So, I can't even, whatever.
Why?
Yes, this is when he becomes the
ever
villain.
Explained why he has to do that?
Yeah, so the vibe is, I don't know that this is like in the movies as much, but it is explained that when Lily died for Harry, because at first he wasn't going to kill Lily because Snape had begged Voldemort, like, don't kill her. And she was like, I'm not going to move. And so he kills her to get to Harry. So since she died for Harry, her love was like the strongest magic in the world, like the ancient magic that raised out, wait, I was going to say Albus. No. Aslan from the dead. That same ancient magic puts like ancient spell that's like beyond, you know, from prehistoric wizards or something that protects Harry. And the only way, I guess, for that protection to continue is for him to still be around family. But obviously he's still protected when he's at Hogwarts.
I totally forgot that stuff.
There's no family there. So y'all couldn't have just... I mean, I'm sorry, I know it's not really, like, traditional to have a baby at Hogwarts, but surely that's better than a child being raised underneath the stairs, being completely neglected, abused, like, in horrible situation, not knowing who he is, not knowing who his parents are.
And, like, he knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, he knew. He knew what was going on. He was definitely checking in on him, so, yes, this is when...
As evidenced by 10 years later, the Dursley household is dominated by the Dursley son, Dudley, who torments and bullies Harry. Dudley is spoiled, while Harry is forced to sleep in a cupboard under the stairs. Okay, low-key, though, it's kind of cozy down there.
Yeah, but for your whole room, when there's extra guest rooms... No.
I mean, it's wrong, but it is.
There's got to be no air in there. There's no fan. There's no ventilation. That can't be safe.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways.
At the zoo on Dudley's birthday, the glass in front of a boa constrictor exhibit disappears, frightening everyone. Harry is later punished for this incident.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, magical.
He speaks parcel tongue to the... We don't know that yet, though.
We don't know that yet. Yeah.
But
this is an example of the foreshadowing because
that comes around
in book 7.
In book 7.
Like, honestly, I mean, yeah. So,
mysterious letters begin arriving for Harry. They worry Mr. Dursley, who tries to keep them from Harry, but the letters keep arriving through every crack in the house. Finally, he flees with his family to a secluded island shack on the eve of Harry's 11th birthday. At midnight, they hear a large bang on the door and Hagrid enters. Hagrid hands Harry an admissions letter to the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Harry learns that the Dursleys have tried to deny Harry's wizardry all these years.
Boo. Boo Dumbledore. I blame Dumbledore for this. Again, I blame him for everything.
Smallest man who ever
Yeah. Like, honestly, maturing is realizing that Dumbledore is the villain of these book series. That he... could have done so much differently.
He really did raise Harry for slaughter. Like
he did.
For slaughter.
Yeah, he did. And yeah. And then at the end, he named his son after him. We'll get to that one in part 2, but my God. Anyways, would you like me to read a couple paragraphs for you?
Sure. Yes.
The next day, Hagrid takes Harry to London to shop for school supplies. First, they go to the Wizard Bank, Gringotts. Problematic.
Okay, pause. So you're telling me that goblins run the bank and they are miserly, money-hungry, money-obsessed guys with large noses? Okay. Anti-Semite? That is crazy, but okay. Whatever, continue.
Okay, blah, 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 money. They shop on the Wizard's commercial street known as Diagon Alley, where Harry is fitted for a school uniform. Diagonally. Harry buys books, ingredients for potions, and finally a magic wand, the companion wand to the evil Voldemort.
All right, so that's mentioned by Mr. Ollivander. He's like, only one other unicorn gave, or not a unicorn.
I remember every wand. I thought
a unicorn here?
Yeah, I thought it was a unicorn.
Anyways, no. It was a phoenix.
No, no. I thought it was a unicorn.
Only one. Only.
Phoenix feather. No, you're right. Ron
Phoenix
and
feather.
Hermione Ron has unicorn. Hermione has a dragon something. Okay. Phoenix, yeah. Yes.
All right, let's keep it pushing. He goes to Hogwarts. On the train, he befriends other students. Okay, so he gets to the thing and he's like, platform 9 3/4. I honestly thought this was lit and really cool.
Yeah, this was amazing.
It's cool.
And I didn't at the time really understand what like a train, like we don't have trains here, basically.
Right.
So I was like, what's a train platform?
Hostile infrastructure.
Yeah, what does that even mean? Like I had no idea, but I do, but I just thought that was awesome. Like this whole everything about this is like there's this other world that you didn't even know existed, and if you know where to
even
look,
more so because we're American, because like British stuff is already like a different world to us,
right?
And then on top of that, it's magic British stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So Harry makes friends on the train with Ron and Hermione. Be honest, how did you pronounce this in your head the first time you read the book?
I don't know. It's so hard because I feel like I had an understanding. Like, again, we read it so late. I do feel like I had heard like Ron and Hermione before I read it.
In my head, full throat was Hermione.
Yeah. I probably could have been.
chest.
But who knows? I just feel like I kind of already knew Hermione somehow. But anyways.
So at school, the first years take turns putting on the sorting hat to find out which residential house they will live in. Here's where we are introduced to all of the different houses: Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, and Slytherin. And Ron, Hermione, and Harry all end up in Gryffindor. But when Harry puts on the hat,
he's given a choice.
He's given a choice between that or Slytherin.
And I actually think, if we want to say like things maybe we would have changed about this series if we could. Like, I wish JK, and obviously she's writing from Harry's kind of point of view. But I wish she would have done a little more to make Slytherin not like, that's the evil guys. Because it's like, well, Harry almost went there. I guess we're supposed to believe that's like the Voldemort part of him or whatever. But I think like not everyone in Slytherin can possibly be evil, or they would be like, hey, let's get rid of this freaking evil house that keeps making everyone be evil.
What did they say? They were like, there's not a dark wizard
who didn't come from Slytherin.
Is that true?
I think they said that. Like, there's not a wizard that went bad. I think Hagrid says that. Like, there ain't a wizard that went bad that wasn't in that house, So this is, again, maybe where we should blame Dumbledore, because if I was the headmaster of such a school, and I'm like, hey, repeatedly, these Slytherin guys, they keep being bad.
Let's mix it up.
Let's not have this house anymore.
Let's do some, diversity, equity, and inclusion training.
Yeah. Like, let's close down Slytherin. I'm sure everyone in there can either be brave, smart, or nice, like they have one of those. So let's integrate them with the other groups and let's shut down that wing, It doesn't, they got weird energy. So anyways, I wish maybe it wasn't so black and white, because it is kind of weird. Like, why would you guys keep doing this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the school year gets underway. Harry discovers that his potions professor, Severus Snape, does not like him. And Hagrid reassures Harry that Snape has no reason to dislike him.
Another adult lying to you, Harry.
Yeah, all adults are lying to you. You can't trust anyone.
Yeah, facts.
During their first flying lesson on broomsticks, the students are told to stay grounded while the teacher takes an injured boy named Neville, my homie. I love you, Neville. He's my favorite character in the whole book.
Obviously.
So basically, Harry figures out he's really good at flying.
Yeah. He got that from his father.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how it works, but okay.
Yeah, whatever. Do you want to start with on Halloween?
Yeah, on Halloween, a troll is found in the building. The students are escorted back to their dorms, but Harry and Ron sneak off to find Hermione, who's alone because she was all crying because they hurt her feelings. That's not in the Spark Notes. Just filling in some blanks. But then they lock the troll in the girls' bathroom with Hermione.
Yeah, they were so mean to her.
Yeah, they were so mean.
I forgot about that.
I mean, they were 11, so... I mean, you're mean at 11. During Harry's first Quidditch match, his... So then they become friends, whatever. Then his broom jerks out of control, and Hermione sees Snape staring at Harry and muttering a curse. So she thinks he's jinxing her, and she sets his clothes on fire. And then he gets control of the broom and wins the match. Which, again, I don't know that an 11-year-old should have been allowed on the Quidditch team, but...
Also, Quidditch, crazy sport.
Super dangerous.
Also,
Again,
Here's the thing I've
Albie.
never really gotten about Quidditch.
Yeah.
Like, is it really, how often does it happen? So there's multiple ways to
Right.
score goals or get points. You can get the quaffle through the little rings.
Right.
And you score like a few points for that.
I think it's like 10 or 20 per score.
But then if you get the snitch, you get 200 points.
Yeah, and the game's instantly over. So
there's like, how often has it happened that someone caught the snitch,
right,
but didn't win because like there was enough quaffle points,
right,
to overcome that? Like, that seems like very unlikely.
Right, I agree. I don't know. Something I was also thinking about recently is there's only 4 houses and they don't play other schools. So, like, how many games can there possibly be? And don't they get bored of just playing their friends? And why does each house have a team? Like, how many? This is not a big school, presumably, because every single, like, the group of first years, they go through all of them. It's like 20 kids. So, we're talking, like, not that many students. So, how does each house have enough students interested and athletic enough to have their own team? And all they do is play each other? I have a lot of questions. Okay. Yeah. Anyways. So then he gets his invisibility cloak, and again, like, why did he get this? Probably not, again, good for an 11-year-old, but
yeah. So it's implied that Dumbledore gave this to him.
I've always thought that.
Okay, because also another like foreshadowing here. The invisibility cloak is 1/3 of the Deathly Hallows.
Right.
So Dumbledore was like, eventually he's going to have these Deathly Hallows. Am I going to tell him that he's going to need those to fulfill his lifelong purpose?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm just going to make it like a fun little clue.
Here's my question.
He's like sadistic.
He is. But honestly, Albie, why didn't you just off him when he was a baby? If you figured this out, why make him grow up? I mean, I know killing babies is wrong, okay? But you were going to kill this kid anyways. You let him have his whole life. You know, I think my assumption is, okay, again, we're jumping into what happens in the last book, but my assumption is Dumbledore didn't necessarily know that he would be able to come back to life, that he thought he would just have to die. And so, why didn't you just, like, take matters into your own hands? I know you were trying to get all the other Horcruxes, but what is the point of letting him, like, I don't know, maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way, but I feel like Albus is always trying to pretend like he has the upper hand and he's, like, morally superior, but it's like, you knew all along that he would have to die, and you never even told him, and you let him figure it out for himself, and it's like, I don't know, it's just wrong. I don't like it.
It is wrong.
Anyways, he figures out that the Philosopher's or Sorcerer's Stone is being guarded by a 3-headed dog in Hogwarts, and it can give you immortal life. Again, why are we guarding this in Hogwarts? I don't know again.
Yeah, so then he and the homies eventually are like, all this stuff happens and they're like, Snape is trying to get the elixir of life. I know that he is.
Right.
But nobody will believe them. So the 3 of them like have to sneaky go in through all of these crazy obstacles, including a magical chess set and a bunch of flying keys, and use conveniently the magic they learned in all of their intro level magic classes to eventually get there. And then they see, you know, Voldemort's essence on the back of Professor Quirrell's head.
Yes.
Gross.
By the way, shout out to my fellow friends of why can't I think of it? A Harry Potter musical, because starring Darren Criss, because they play out the events of this book, and Voldemort and Quirrell are like romantically involved, but they're played by 2 guys sharing one giant cloak, standing back to back. It is so funny.
That's so funny.
So anyways, yeah, it's very bizarre. And it's weird in the movies too. He looks like, and I don't really still understand how that even happened. Like, how did his essence live on when he died? Did they not find a body? Like, did he used to have a different body? I don't really understand any of that, to be honest with you.
And then how did the Phoenix came? No, that's in the second book.
Yeah.
What happened? He pulls the thing? No, that's the next book.
He looks in the mirror of Erised, and then he sees the stone.
Oh, right. So
because it can only give it to the person who doesn't want it, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Or like who wants it but not
selflessly.
use it.
Right.
yeah, convenient. I don't know, whatever. This first book is kind of like, it establishes a lot of stuff, but it's kind of
right.
just
It's a
kinda
big
cute.
setup for everything else.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the banquet and Gryffindor wins, which again,
Yeah, okay,
Dumbledore.
this is another thing.
This would have enraged me if I went to Hogwarts.
It's like every year, like Gryffindor is down like 300-400 points, and it's like, no way they can come back. And then Dumbledore is like, hey, I'm going to like to award 201 points to Gryffindor.
Can you imagine though, if either of
I
us
would
were
be
there, how mad we would be?
Irate.
Yeah.
I would be irate.
Yeah. I'd be like, you mean he was trespassing, going the one place y'all told us not to go, putting himself in danger, may have like encountered Voldemort, and you're letting him win for that? And he didn't earn that. And meanwhile, I've been like, you know, doing my homework,
getting my marks. I've been showing up to class.
Yeah.
I've been
raising my
in
hand.
bed by time. Okay.
Yeah. No. I would have been so mad. I would have cried out of rage.
You know what? I would have turned into an evil wizard. And I get it.
I get why Slytherins are evil.
They're getting pushed to the point of a mental break.
Yeah, it's not their fault. Yeah, facts. Anyways, that's book one.
All right.
But there is something, like you said, finding this in a really hard time when you don't want to be at your school, when you wish there was a magical place you could go where everyone would love you and you would be famous and they would all know who you are. And also there's magic tables where food just appears. Like that all, of course we loved it, you know? Because it's like, sometimes you wish someone would show up and be like, hey, the reason you felt different all your life, it's actually because you're a wizard, not because you're a freaking weirdo, you know?
Honestly, I feel like I got so into these, I kind of felt like it was real.
That's what they thought would happen, Abigail.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So things start heating up when we get to Chamber of Secrets. So
yeah,
Harry gets home for the summer, and guess what? The Dursleys are on their bullshit again.
Yeah.
And they're being super mean to him. They have like barred his windows. They decided to give him his own room. He no longer has to stay in the thing, but he's there with his awesome owl Hedwig.
Shout out Hedwig. R.I.P. Hedwig.
Shout out. R.I.P. the goat. So anyways, the Dursleys are having over some people for dinner because they're trying to make this big sale. And that's where we get this amazing meme where Harry is like, I'll be up in my room, being quiet, pretending I don't exist.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Honestly. When this weird looking naked creature named Dobby,
R.I.P. Dobby,
the goat, shows up in Harry's room and is like, Harry Potter must not return to Hogwarts.
You're like,
School of Witchcraft
what?
and Wizardry. Yeah. And he's like, Dobby, if you don't shut up, you have to be quiet. I'm going to get my ass beat.
Yeah.
And Dobby's like, I don't care.
Yeah. I'm going to make you get in trouble so you can't go to Hogwarts.
Oh, and then Dobby says, you want to go back to school and your friends haven't even written to you? And he's like, wait,
how do you know that?
How do you know my friends haven't written to me? He's like,
kind of sus.
Can't be mad. I've been, interfering with the British Postal Service.
Yeah. Felony.
Anyways, so then Dobby is terrible. He
gets him in trouble, basically.
He gets him in big trouble.
Yeah.
So much so that Harry is basically imprisoned in his room. And
very chill again, Albus. Very chill. All 12-year-olds should be barred.
Yeah. That's when the Weasley boys show up in the magic flying car.
Yeah.
To rescue him.
Yeah.
And then they fly him back to the thing. Then they go to Diagon Alley. We're introduced to the Flu Network.
Yes, classic. Diagonally.
I've never really understood why you use flu powder.
Yeah, because they can apparate and they can fly cars.
And you can just bring kids with you when you apparate. Why wouldn't you have to use flu?
I don't know. I think it's supposed to be really hard to apparate and takes a lot out of you maybe. So it's just maybe chiller to do flu.
So in Diagon Alley, we are introduced that he has an encounter with Lucius Malfoy, who is Draco's dad. Oh, we didn't even mention our King Draco.
King, Hermione, King.
But yeah, you cannot convince me that Draco is bad. I'm just gonna.
I think Draco is a wonderful mirror to Harry because he similarly had no choice in his life. Like, you're meant to think Harry is like super good and like has all this independence, but again, he's being corralled by Albus Dumbledore, and very similarly, Draco is being kind of corralled by Death Eaters, and I don't think either of them are responsible for where they end up at the end of this books. Shout out Draco.
And if Senlin Yu is to be believed, he really has a redemption arc after the conclusion of the Harry Potter books.
Yeah. But also, like, again, on the note of J.K. Rowling being weird, the cursed child exists. And I think in that, I've only read it once, and I don't plan on doing it again. But I think, isn't it like Draco's son and Harry's son or something? Like, they're friends? I don't know. So,
yeah, I think so.
Something like that. So I do think he at least is like not in like the wizarding Nuremberg trials after Voldemort, you know? He's a free man.
Here's the thing. So, okay, this is when we really get introduced in this book, as we really get introduced to this idea that there's people within the wizarding world, or there's wizards in the wizarding world, who think that it's wrong to not have pure blood. So they're basically like wizard Nazis.
Literally.
And this is we know this because Draco is the new Slytherin seeker, and he's like beefing with Harry and the homies, and he calls Hermione a mudblood.
Right. Which is like a slur.
Yeah. And it's just kind of crazy that she's like, it's just weird to me that she's like, yeah, let me like draw on the ideas of like shameful part of our global history, like the Holocaust or racial segregation or apartheid, and like make that the basis of my book, and then also go out of my way to exclude a group based on their identity in my life. That's just crazy.
It is odd. It is. She completely missed the point, actually.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So then Harry starts hearing voices, and every time he hears this weird voice, then someone is kind of like attacked and is almost killed. So he's like, that's weird. Oh well. Have no trusted adult to talk to about this because Dumbledore just avoids me. So
yeah, and like all the kids are like running around the school, and they're like always basically found at the scene of the crime. But the key here is that all the victims, there's some sort of reflective medium around them. Right. So there's like a mirror or a camera or a puddle of water.
Yeah.
And so that's important because later on it's because they didn't look into the eyes of the monster. But basically they've heard this lore that there is a chamber of secrets that Salazar Slytherin built in the bottom of Hogwarts, and it would be released by the true heir of Slytherin. And so everyone's like, who's the heir of Slytherin? Probably Draco.
Probably this racist blonde kid.
Yeah.
Fair
but
assumption.
Everyone starts being suspicious of Harry.
Right.
Because
he's hearing voices.
He's hearing voices, A. Always at the scene of the crime, B. And C, he does like this, for class, he does this like object lesson with Gilderoy Lockhart, the Defense Against Dark Arts teacher. And he has like this duel with Draco, and he accidentally speaks in parcel tongue, and everyone's like,
that's weird. That's suspicious. And again, he doesn't ask too many questions about like, hey, how come I can talk to snakes? He's just like, I don't know. Weird. Anyways.
And then Harry, Ron, and Hermione try Polyjuice Potion because they're like, we're going to go undercover to see if Draco is the heir of Slytherin and what he's doing.
Right.
But so that's where we get introduced to Polyjuice Potion. It's really important in the rest of the books. It comes up all the time.
Really like they need to get some tighter regulations on it as well. Like, why is it so easy to make? Because this seems extremely problematic.
Identity fraud.
Very. So yeah. Then Hermione.
And also, like, you would think there would be more ways to like stop its effectiveness. I don't know.
Yeah, like a counter antidote or something. I don't know. Anyways, Hermione and a Ravenclaw girl get petrified as well. So then Harry and Ron are like looking to figure out what's going on. And then before they can go ask Hagrid what's going on, the Minister of Magic, another villain, and Lucius Malfoy, another villain, take Dumbledore and Hagrid away from Hogwarts because Hagrid, was accused of opening it the first time this happened.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And he was expelled, which is why he's
right.
like not allowed to like technically use magic anymore.
Yeah, allegedly. So then he tells him to follow the spiders, and Ron's like, I really hate spiders, something like that. And then they find all these giant spiders, and then they discover a piece of paper with a description of a basilisk on it in Hermione's frozen hand. And they understand that there must be a basilisk, which is like a massive snake, in the Chamber of Secrets.
Okay, pause.
Yeah.
Harry and Ron are basically useless.
Basically, yeah.
They cannot do anything without Hermione.
Facts.
And this is fulfilled in the incredible work of The Manacled by Sin Lin Yu, when in that alternate universe, like Hermione isn't so involved in like their lives and like isn't really like an active, you know, like a fighter.
Yeah.
Things go off the rails because she is like the entire brains and brawn of the operation.
Literally. Like she is the one brewing this potion. Okay. She's the one trying to figure out how to get in the Chamber of Secrets. She's the one who was smart in book 1. And that goes on forever. So thank you.
Harry is useful for his genetics. Ron?
Yes.
I fear.
He was a good friend, though. I do feel like
he's there for a good time.
He was not portrayed very well, maybe by the movies. But I do feel like in the books, like, obviously he had the family. He welcomed Harry in. He was a really good friend. And he was an important part of it, you know? But him and Ron, that's like, wow, two dum-dums meandering through the plot.
Oh, another thing that happened in this book is that there's this ghost that lives in like the bathroom. Her name is Moaning Myrtle, and they figure out that she was the person that was killed by the monster the last time that the Chamber of Secrets was allegedly opened. Yeah. So through this description of a basilisk in Hermione's hand, and through, you know, process of elimination and interviews with Moaning Myrtle, they figure out that they have to go through the pipes to find the chamber, and they go down there. Why? Oh, because Ginny is down there.
Yes, Ginny has been taken to the chamber.
Ginny is Ron's sister.
Yes, Harry's future wife.
Yes. Oh, also, one thing we totally did talk about is that Harry has been interacting with his magic diary this whole time.
Right.
That like writes back to you. Yeah. Very bad idea.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't get involved in any magic diaries.
So bad.
Yeah.
So he goes down there. He is able to beat the basilisk, but it like gets him. But then conveniently, Dumbledore has like dipped. Okay, he's not there, but he sends his Phoenix to cry on Harry and heal him.
Yeah. So
he's a huge manipulator.
Enabler.
I just feel like he's like always getting the credit for like saving the day,
right?
But all the problems are manufactured by him,
right? Like if you knew about this, why didn't you freaking kill the basilisk earlier? Why are you letting kids be taken? Know? Yeah, no, boo. Then they stab the diary, and Tom. Oh yeah, the diary is possessed by Tom Riddle, which is Voldemort. Oh, yeah. That's how you find out who Voldemort is, and it's a Horcrux, which you don't know yet. And the basilisk fang kills it, and he dies, and Jenny wakes up. So yeah, that's the second attempt at Voldemort infiltrating Hogwarts.
We find out that Lucius Malfoy, the reason that they got a hold of the diary was because he slid it into Ginny's school bag.
Yeah, he is trying
back when they ran into him in Diagon Alley.
So he's obviously still running with the Death Eaters. And then so Harry frees Dobby. House of Frights.
House spew. So anyways, that's where like maybe that's a good place for us to stop on our Harry Potter journey today.
Yeah, I'm thinking this might have to be a 3-parter.
This might be a 3-parter. And maybe this is boring. I don't know. I'm having a good time. But I do think
the first 2 books to me kind of stand alone. The third book is definitely a big turning point, and then 4 through 7 are like completely different beasts.
Yeah, totally.
So I think this makes sense. Like these 2 are almost could have just been like a little duology, and then book
Yeah.
3 is like its own thing, which is crazy, and then the ending. So I think it's a good
the
place.
world is starting to get cooking.
Yeah, and these two are honestly, there's a lot of obviously drama, but they're really fun and light to me, and they obviously get a lot darker. So it's just interesting. Like these two are fun, like happy little books with a lot of fun. We don't cover the fun stuff as much, like the Christmases and the sweaters that Ron's mom knits them, and
and all the food.
Happy
the
Christmas,
pumpkin
Harry.
juice.
Yeah.
I don't know. Pumpkin juice never sounded amazing to me.
No.
But what other foods do they eat?
I don't know. I just remember it. Like to me, the
And
best
the food
part
magically
of Harry Potter.
appears
Yeah,
on the
that was the
table.
best part of Harry Potter. Was like these feasts would just magically appear for you every day, and you don't have to clean anything up.
The Halloween vibes, the Christmas vibes.
Yeah.
Harry gets his first Christmas present
Like ever in life.
ever.
So, Dumbledore again.
It's just really sweet and like happiness, happy vibes. We love it. It's so good. And it's really setting up.
Oh,
what's
yeah.
gonna be a crazy conclusion.
Yeah. So this is part 1, and we'll be back for part 2 and probably part 3.
Yeah,
That's right.
I guess. Maybe we'll space them out with like other things in between.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. We'll see.
TBD, TDB.
Okay, Emily, have you read anything recently?
Oh, have I ever?
Oh no. Okay, what's up?
No. Okay, so since it is a Harry Potter episode, I'm gonna keep you guys involved in my fan fiction journey. I have a real book and a fan fiction to share. Okay. This has consumed my life, though. I just finished, literally before I planned on finishing it earlier today, but it is so long. I just finished this fanfic called "The Cadence of Part-Time Poets."
Okay.
According to people who would know, this is actually longer than the Bible.
Oh my god.
It is over 1 million words. I don't know. How many words is the Bible? Hold on, let me Google it. I've been reading this for quite some time.
Wait, this is a real book?
It's a fan fiction.
Okay.
Okay, so the King James Bible has 783,000 words. This book is over 1 million. Or no, fan fiction, sorry. It's called The Cadence of Part-Time Poets. I won't talk about it too much, but it is...
Oh, go off.
It is a Muggle alternate universe, so purely human, of the Marauders. Okay. It takes place mostly at a boarding school in Scotland, and it's Remus Lupin POV. But
they're just regular non-magic people.
Non-mag. But he basically is, so like his mom died, his dad is a jerk, and he's a troubled youth, and he's kind of in with all these not so good people, but he's very wealthy, but troubled. And he gets kicked out of school. He's like 15, and he gets kicked out for punching a teacher because the teacher was picking on like other kids, and he was mad. And his dad's like, okay, there's one more school I can send you to. Like your mom went to the school, and it's your last chance, basically. If you don't shape up, this is the last place you can go. You've been kicked out of everywhere else. And so he sends him off, and he becomes roommates with James Potter, Sirius Black, and Peter Pettigrew. And they were roommates. And it follows them all the way through their careers. This is the fan fiction I read that I'm most like, oh, this is a book, because there's no magical elements to it. The characters are so unique and like kind of different than what they are, I think, in the canon world. Like Remus is a lot more rough around the edges and kind of like a bad boy, but just struggling, has a lot of problems. Anyways, but they decide to form a band, and this is like their...
Like a rock band?
A rock band. It's set in the 70s. They decide to form a rock band. It's like their journey of being friends, of going through school and forming a band together.
There's no James Potter.
Oh, no, James is there too. Yeah, they're all four. Okay. All four. Yeah. And they call the band Marauders. So that's where that ties in. And apparently there's going to be a part 2, because this is my one gripe with this. I have been reading this nonstop.
It's 1 million words and there's part 2.
Yeah. So it kind of ends like right after they basically, okay, I'll just, who's actually going to go read this? It goes all the way through them in school. And then they decide after they graduate, we're going to give like their parents are obviously all very wealthy. They go to this really rich school. They want them to go to college. They're like, give us one gap year and we'll do one gap year and try to make this work. And if it doesn't work by the end of the year, then we'll give up, you know? And so, it goes like through the end of this gap year and like, is their, you know, journey to being successful. But there was, this is my gripe with it. There was some foreshadowing of things that like don't pay off because I guess this author planned a part two. Because it's very, like, sometimes we very Daisy Jones-esque almost, where you're like, it'll be like kind of a flash forward of like 20 years later, Remus would remember this or whatever. And like, so you kind of see what's going to happen, but none of that actually pays off because I guess there's going to be a part two. Anyways, it was so good. I really think if you're deep into this Marauders lore as I have become, it's good, but it's long. It's taken up my whole life. Like, I've been reading nothing, but I did read another book for the real book people out there.
Wait, hold on though.
Yeah.
So for the fic.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's in a non-magic world. Do you feel like the integrity of the characters or did she kind of just develop her own characters and just use their names? Like their personality traits and things like that. Was that consistent? Because I feel like their personalities are so tied to their magical abilities.
Yeah, I think that's what I was saying. Like, I do feel like very easily this could be its own completely standalone book series because she definitely, like, I think there's again, also these characters like aren't the main characters of Harry Potter, so there's not like a ton to go off of. But I think, like, for example, James Potter in the books, comes from a wealthy, like, magical family who's supposed to, I don't know, you think they're nice probably. So that's like still part of his life. He's from a wealthy family. Like, Sirius is still kind of like an outcast from his family. They're not good people. He was abused. I think that's consistent. Remus, I would say, is the most different in this one. He's more like, again, he has kind of like this dual life of being very wealthy and coming from a good family, but also most of his friends outside of school are very like, rough around the edges from a bad part of town or like drug dealers basically. So I think he's the most different, but I think it would not be hard for this to be its own book. But I do think there's like a lot of similarities as well because I think like in this one, Remus really struggles with like his mental health, and that to me is kind of very similar to struggling with being the werewolf part of him. So I think there's like overlaps there with some of the struggles. But you know, it's not a one-to-one like some others, you know?
Yeah. Okay, interesting. I just wonder why she chose to use those characters in a non-magic world.
I know, but it's still great.
I believe you that it's good. It's just very, very interesting.
Yeah. So anyways.
I'm assuming it's a she.
I don't know, but I think probably she, they, whoever you are. Okay, then I read A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. I think this was a book that someone said they liked on the episode we did where we did listener recommendations. And I thought it sounded interesting. So I got it on Libby. But anyways, so follows Chloe Davis. And when she was a kid, her small town basically was haunted by a serial killer. And 6 teenage girls went missing. And some of their bodies were found. And by the end of the summer, her dad was arrested for being that serial killer. And now, it's 20 years later. She's a psychologist living in Baton Rouge and getting ready for her wedding. And she's trying to like overcome her childhood trauma of her dad being a serial killer. But then girls start going missing again. But her dad's still in jail. So what's up with that?
So maybe her dad isn't a serial killer.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Who knows? Who knows? Or is there a new one? Is it a copycat killer? So many questions. This book was good. It was like good. Good, not great. It is definitely like if you want a mystery that will keep you engaged, this is great for that. I also listened to the audiobook like off and on reading, and it's told in first person, which is kind of interesting. Like I don't feel like there's a lot of books that are first person. So it's like, I went to do this, I did this. So you really get a very limited perspective, which I think works for this book. I will say also, I did guess like the twist. There's like 3 twists, you know, it's like one twist you think is a twist, and then there's another twist, and then there's a third really big twist that explains everything, you know. I guess the third one, and so that I never like that. Like, I personally like to be like swept away, you know? But I think that means like it was well foreshadowed. So I don't know. I can't hate on it. But yeah, it was
So
very
maybe if
interesting.
people aren't as smart as you.
Yeah, if you're stupid. No, but I think, I don't know. There's something about thrillers where sometimes like there's only so many ways it can go because the like characterizations of people are pretty limited and you know the formula. And so I think that is what happened here, but I don't think it was bad by any means. And I thought it was really interesting. And it's very like, if you like this is like the next generation of the red wine drinking divorcee who witnesses a crime and no one believes her, because also Chloe is addicted to prescription pills. So she has some substance abuse problems.
Unreliable narrator.
Yeah. And so, I mean, makes sense. If my dad was a serial killer, I probably would have some, you know, issues as well. Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was really good. I read it really fast, and I liked the audiobook. Again, it's in first person, so I think the audiobook really works because it's like this person's talking to you a little bit, and I liked it. So
gosh, there's so much to read, and
so much. Yeah, if you're you can't see, guys, but I just organized my bookshelves, and this stack back here is a small selection of the physical books I have not read yet that I own. And I just bought 5 more. Literally, I just bought 5 more books. I don't know. I went blacked out. And anyways, so yeah, there's too much to read.
And I have to reread Hunger Games because of the news about
obviously.
Sunrise at the Reaping, which, let me talk about my book and then we'll talk about that before we log off. All right, so I read The Guncle Abroad.
I just started it, so I'm so excited, but don't spoil
me. Okay, I will be very careful.
Yeah, but you're good.
Would you? Or I can talk about it.
No, talk about it. Just, I mean, you know, like I feel like I get the gist of what's going to happen.
Okay,
and I started it, so I know the premise. Just go.
I could hold off. Okay.
No. Talk about it.
So I liked it. I would say it is fan service for folks who liked the first book.
Sure.
Is it as? I don't think. Okay, here's the thing. It feels like a sequel to a book that was never intended to have a sequel.
Sure.
So, I enjoyed it. I think that it was like as much of a hit and like as a punch as the first one? No.
Right.
But that's okay because I really like Gup. I really love gay Uncle Patrick. I really like Maisie. I really like Grant. I really like everybody. I like that they traveled around Europe. That was really fun. Mm-hmm. I totally guessed what was going to happen in the end.
Sure.
So to that extent, it was a little bit boring knowing what was going to happen.
Right.
But the really bright parts of the book were, for me, the humor.
Yeah.
Great jokes, great wit. The main character, Patrick, has an amazing sense of humor. Also, I think some of the big themes discussed in this book is a continuation of the discussion about grief, also about misogyny and sexism within the gay community, which I was really surprised by. I don't know why I was surprised by it. I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because the children, the premise of the book is that the children's father is remarrying and their soon-to-be stepmother has a sister who's a lesbian, so she's their aunt.
Yeah.
and he's like has this funny rivalry with the lesbian aunt.
Yeah.
And also like it's Patrick kind of investigating some of his own misogyny and the fact that as like a gay man, he doesn't have a lot of female friends and like why might that be, and some of the ways that he belittles women, which was an interesting and unexpected conversation.
Yeah. I like that.
And also like the ways that like the relationship and the allyship between gay men and lesbian women. And what else? Also there was just more conversation about the experience of being a woman because Maisie is, 14. She is, experiencing puberty and like this transition from childhood to young adulthood.
Yeah.
And there was this really impactful quote that stuck with me after I read it, where the wedding is set on Lake Como in Italy, and they're talking about there's lore that there's a monster that lives in the lake. And one of the female characters, actually Palmina, who's the lesbian aunt, the aunt, she was like, that's what it's like to be a young woman, where you have this monster inside of you, and every once in a while there's like this peak that people get to see, but you have to spend your life shoving down the monster and pretending the monster doesn't exist and hiding it. Whereas young men, they can just let their monster out. Yeah. And they never have to hide it. And I was like, okay, Stephen Rowley consulting a woman about this book.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
must have.
Hello. So that was really nice. And it was delightful. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I liked it, but it wasn't as much as a hit as the first one.
Sure.
That's okay. Yeah, it's okay that it wasn't, is what I would say.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, like the first few chapters I've read is like, he is so good at, I feel like especially, I mean, I've read his other books, but especially with like Patrick, his voice is so distinct and clear and funny that I've already been laughing so much at some of the like quips and dialogues. They're just so good. So
the rat-tat-tats.
Yeah. And I think that's hard. I'm sure that's hard to write. Like, humor seems very difficult, especially like conversations between people that are funny, So I'm very impressed.
And like, one of the fun things about the first book was that it's set in Palm Springs. It has this very strong sense of place. And then this one does too, because they're traveling around Europe. So that's also fun and a really enjoyable part of the book.
Yeah. I'll let you know what I think.
I recommend
Probably
it.
By the next Harry Potter part too.
Jesus. What have we done? We've really gotten ourselves into it. Yeah. And I hope that when we listen back, it wasn't boring.
Yeah. Let us know.
Let us know. I guess.
Leave a 5-star review either way, but you can tell us, hey, this was a boring episode, but just smash that 5 stars.
Okay, so also this week in book news, Suzanne Collins has announced that next year she will be releasing another Hunger Games prequel called Sunrise on the Reaping, which starts at the reaping of the 50th Hunger Games. Now, yes. I would like to say something.
Yeah.
Well, first, something I'd like to say is, can you hear the ice cream truck outside my window?
Quite a lot, yes.
Quite a lot? That's going to be hard to edit out.
Yeah.
So we might
just enjoy the background music.
We might just have to rock with it.
Yeah, enjoy the background music, you guys.
Anyways, everyone, so 50th Hunger Games, obviously, for those who participate in this fandom, is Hamish Abernathy's Hunger Games. However, I don't actually think this is going to be about his Hunger Games.
I've been seeing a lot of people say that. Or like, it's not going to be from his perspective, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think it's been teased that some of the
things in this book
are going to be like totalitarianism, propaganda. I think it's going to follow the time of his Hunger Games, but it's not going to be told from his point of view. Right. Maybe from somebody who's watching live on TV, or from multiple points of view from people outside of the 50th Hunger Games following the events of them. Yeah. I mean, we know what happened in his Hunger Games, I think. Like the way that he won. He did, I think, like, if I recall, he did like a lot of like hiding and like tricking.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he like outsmarted it. And
he outsmarted people.
He like threw an axe or something into the force field because that was a key point. Yeah. So
highlighted even more in detail in Peta's Games on Archive of Our Own by Ixie Grace.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you're a fan of the Hunger Games if you haven't read Peta's Games.
Those are canon again, as I've said.
You're a
fake
fan.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I kind of have this feeling that it's not going to. I love Hamish. I would love to follow his games, but also so depressing because we know that it ends very sadly with him being like a very miserable alcoholic. Also, I've seen a lot of discourse that I think is right on the money, which is that Suzanne Collins doesn't write books for money, or she would have been writing a ton more books since she's published Hunger Games, and she just hasn't. Yeah. She writes them because she has something to say. Yeah. And so I'll be very interested to see what she has to say.
I agree. Again, I texted you this, but I'll say it on the record here. Like, I didn't like Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but it wasn't because it wasn't a good story or because the writing was bad or because it felt like retconned or fan service. Like, you know, it just felt like I don't like snow at all. I don't want to read about the sky any more than I have to, which I guess it was the point. So, you know, I think I'm very interested because I think she has a very clear idea of the world she's created. And she's not just writing things, like you said, to make money or to milk the Hunger Games. It feels like she's very much has this like clear story in her mind. And so I think whatever it is, whether I enjoy the main character or not, I think the story is clear. And I think it will be a good story with a purpose, you know?
And it'll be interesting to see, like, there's more potential characters too. So, I mean, there'll be President Snow in middle age. That will be part of the book, I'm sure. Also, other people that are around the age of Haymitch back in District 12 would be like Katniss's parents.
Right.
Peeta's parents. Caesar Flickerman may also be part of this world now. I'm even thinking other people that like are in the capital that we meet during the Hunger Games, like Cinna. How old is he? Tigress. Snow's cousin, who ends up being a stylist.
Yeah, definitely. They all could be out
I mean, there's lots of possibilities, which makes this kind of fun because we did see in Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Suzanne Collins like alluded to things that happen in the Hunger Games.
Right.
And like planted little seeds, you know, like some like fan lore. So I'm interested to see how that plays out too. And
I agree.
I just can't wait for it to be here. I'm so excited.
And the movie. Although have you ever watched the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes movie?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
No. Was it terrible? No.
Yeah.
But it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Also, it's hard for me to, here's the thing, the difference between the book and the movie. One thing I will say, the book was like, I'm going to make you empathize with President Snow and then also hate him even more. Like I'm going to like let you see his point of view. And by the end of the book, you're going to hate him even more because you're going to realize like the choice that he made to become evil, that he's not just like a victim of his own circumstance. Like he had many choices to choose like which path he was going to go through. And like he chose
wrong.
To be a bad person.
Right.
That commits genocide on people.
Let's not forget.
Yeah. Like,
and poisons his enemies,
chose.
Right?
Yeah, that's what he chose. He's bad, and you can see him as a human and still know he's bad.
Yeah.
I would say the thing about the movie is that I don't know if it's about the movie. I think it's just the culture around the movie where there's all these like thirst traps about Coriolanus Snow, and I'm just like,
don't do that.
I don't know. I get it, but like, do we have to make him hot?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree.
That's my sense.
I
think there were some things that were a little cringe. Like, weirdly, everyone in District 12, like, all of a sudden has a Southern accent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You should watch it.
Okay. I'll let you guys know. I mean, I still haven't finished the book, so.
And maybe never will.
Yeah.
Okay, this got to be a long episode.
But fun.
We'll try our damnedest to do the next Harry Potter one in one episode. I think we could do it.
I think we can.
Yeah.
We had a lot of preambling, so yeah, the next one will just be mostly the book, so.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
This has been great. Bye.
Guys.